Hi there, my name's Donna Thistlethwaite, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the steps for having an Are You OK conversation with someone. Back in 2012, I was a corporate HR professional and I had a loving family, lots and lots of friends. I experienced a crisis at work that led to a massive unraveling of my life and ultimately to a significant attempt to end my life. Since then, life has changed dramatically and I'm happier than I have ever been. And I'm also really passionate about building skills in our community to be able to have a mental health conversation with someone. I think that these skills have never been more needed than right now. The pandemic is challenging us in so many different ways, and we know that many people are struggling. There's been a 30% increase to services like Lifeline and Beyond Blue, and some of my clients are actually saying that they are getting calls to their EAPs or even directly to their business of a suicidal nature. So it's important that we're able to do what we can to support each other and minimise the number of people that are affected by mental illness. Now, today I'm going to talk you through the Are You OK conversation model. And the reason for that is that it's available all of the time on the internet. I'll share the web address with you shortly. So there's actually 4 steps to it, and there's a beautiful little acronym called ALEC. So step 1 is to ask how they are. Now, when do you have the conversation? Look out for signs that somebody is struggling. It might be that their mood has dramatically changed. Maybe they're really cheerful usually and they're not so much that way anymore. It could be that they're withdrawing. They're not coming to social events that they would have previously. It could be that they're not putting their video camera on when you have your team meetings. It might be that they are reporting that their sleep is really disturbed. Maybe there's changes in their appetite or their weight. Perhaps they've started drinking more than usual or using other substances. Perhaps they are really blue. Their mood is really sad. They have a loss of enjoyment for things that they've previously had a lot of fun with. So these are some of the signs and indicators that it's timely to have a conversation with them. We really just want to start that with I care and are you okay? It can be good to say what you've noticed. I've noticed you're not your cheerful self lately. What's going on? Are you okay? Just starting the conversation really gently can be a good thing, but we need to go on to the further steps as well. And next is listen non-judgmentally. What we want to do is create a safe space where they can share what's happening for them. So you might want to ask some more open-ended questions of them. What's going on in your life? How are you feeling? And just get them talking. What we want to do is make sure that we don't interrupt them and they can speak really freely. We need to make sure we've allowed enough time to have a proper conversation because you never quite know how long these things are going to take. Silence is good. Pausing, letting them fill the space is really cool. Sometimes we can feel some judgment about what's going on, either what they're saying or how they're reacting to the situation. And what we want to do is withhold that and not let it come through. We certainly don't want to be saying things like toughen up or it'll be okay or oh, people have got it worse. And sometimes people actually can say those things. So best to just listen and let them speak really freely. So minimal encourages, the nodding, maybe leaning in, just letting them know that they have your attention. Now, you don't have to be an expert, and even saying, look, I haven't really done this before, but I really just want to be here for you because I care. What we do next is the E step, and that's encourage action. So we're not here to diagnose them or anything. It's really just about connecting them with somebody who can support them. And it might be a family or a friend. It might also be a GP. They can be a great starting point. And then there's a wealth of services that are available for little or no cost. Services like Lifeline, Beyond Blue. There's even websites that you can undergo some treatment anonymously and without fee. The Head to Health site that the government fund and make available is a great one-stop shop for all of the different services, and I'll share another one with you soon. So we want to encourage them to take some action. You might ask them, what's worked for you before? Have you felt like this before? Have you talked to anyone about what's going on? Do they have a good GP? The GP can be a good starting point because they can rule out like physical reasons the person might be feeling the way they are. They can also monitor the situation moving forward, and they can authorize a mental health plan, which means that they can access subsidized sessions with a mental health professional. So GP can be great. Not all GPs are created equal, so finding a good one, if they don't have one at the moment, can be really useful. Finally, check in. Make a note in your diary to go back to them in sort of 3 days, 5 days, depending how acute the situation is, and just see how they're going. How are you feeling now? Has anything changed? Were you able to make that call to the GP? Have you got an appointment? And we do want to go gently, but we also want to let them know that we care and we're there for them. We're interested. Now, if you're really worried about them, if you feel like there's a risk to their life, I would encourage you to ask if they're having thoughts of ending their life. Now, it's super important you ask the direct question here. Are you having thoughts of suicide? Are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about ending your life? Now, for most people, that can feel pretty scary. I really encourage you to get used to asking this question. People sometimes worry that it might put an idea into the head, but it doesn't. The research tells us that it's actually a really important question to ask and that it can save lives. And the more we ask it, the more comfortable we get with asking it. So I actually know somebody, he's a CEO of a construction training centre, and they practice in their team meetings asking the question so that they can build up some muscle memory around it. Now, the next step, if you're really worried about them, is to ask if they say that they've had thoughts of suicide, ask when they last had that thought, ask if they have a plan. And depending on whether they do, that will really influence what happens next. If they have a plan and they have the means, it's really important that you don't leave them alone. It's not always practical for you to stay with them, though. The important thing is that if it's not you, that it's somebody that they trust that can be with them and help them get to the support that they need. Now, you can't keep suicide a secret, okay? If someone's life is at risk, it's really important they get help, and it might actually mean that you need to call the emergency services. And having that discussion with them is really important, and helping them to understand that you can't keep this a secret because their life depends on it and you really care about them. Now, I'm actually going to bring up the Are You Okay conversation model so you can see that. So there we can see it. Are you okay? Listen, encourage action, and check in. Now, there is a link on the Are You Okay website to services that might be of use as well. So familiarise yourself with that website. It's super cool and available to you all of the time. Now, another thing I'd say is just the importance of building relationships with people and reaching out, particularly at this time. We want to actually know people so that we can notice when there's been a change in their demeanour, and we also want to have that relationship in order to be able to have a conversation with them. Now, I'd really like you to think about who you're going to reach out to in the next week. I challenge you to think of 3 people at least that you're going to reach out to each week just to see how they are. You can absolutely make a difference to people's lives when you do that. And you'll be amazed when you find the joy that it brings you to be connected. Now, as I said, those resources are available to you at any time on the Are You OK website. I'm Donna Thistlethwaite. It's been a pleasure to share this with you today. And why not connect with me on LinkedIn? I'd love that. And wishing you all the best for your Are You OK conversations. Thank you.